A really weird story. So this guy, his name is Clif High. It was 1997. He developed this software program called WebBot, and what it would do, it would scan the entire internet, collect data, it would make predictions for the stock market. But then he delved into it a little more. It's just like, let's see what else it can predict. In 2009, it came up with a prediction of the future that there was going to be a battle in the air with the military and UFOs, and that even UFOs would be fighting UFOs.
Whoa.
But there had to be a trigger to
set it in motion.
Yeah, set it in motion. It said that when this trigger happens, then 39 days later, this prediction will come true. Here's the crazy part. 2009. The trigger was Donald Trump would be interviewed by Joe Rogan.
Bro, no.
Nuh-uh.
No way, dude. That's crazy.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the goddamn internet. And today I have a really special one for you, as you can motherfucking see, right? There's some pretty insane shit going around, some footage, some predictions, right? Some Simpsons shit, okay? So, yeah, it's very interesting. Let me know what you think about that clip in particular, and I will always be keeping you up to date on UFO news, conspiracies, and predictions, okay? So, subscribe, notification. Jesus Christ, did you guys just see how my editing software and camera fucked out? Like, I was like shaking and shit. I think it was because I was updating my drivers at the same time. Everything fucked out, okay? But as I was saying, subscribe, notifications on, okay? You do not want to miss this top-notch content, okay? So do it now, okay? And there will be a UFO outside your driveway. No scam at all. Get your popcorn, get your snacks, because you're in for a good one. Stay till the end, and let's fucking watch this shit.
The interview will take place, and therefore we'll have it as a temporal marker itself. And so that sets going a sort of a timer. Bear in mind what I was telling you about how we get these times, right? It's a software adding up all of this shit based on all these words, and we're constantly wrong to some great degree. And it varies based on the size of the set, the amount of processing it takes, and yada, yada, yada. So it's not like any kind of guaranteed date or anything, right? It is just, I am alluding to the possibility that there's a short period of time between the, barely over a month between the temporal marker and the visible contention that will appear in the skies that from the descriptors we had back in 2009 will go to the idea of UFO versus UFO and UFO versus jets. Okay, so like sort of very complex kind of Independence Day kind of shit, right? Nobody will know who the hell is doing what with whom. Now, okay, so you think that's unlikely and so on, as do I. All this shit's always unlikely until it happens. Possible, not.
Okay, so possible, not probable. Okay, this is some very interesting and confusing shit, okay? Some pretty interesting and intriguing predictions, right? And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. He's made some many years ago, and it's things that are predicted for today and tomorrow and this year and next year, right? So check out his shit, and we'll explore this together, okay?
All right, so approximately late 2009, I started getting stuff in my data about an upcoming event that was going to be pivotal for, there was going to be a pivotal temporal marker for the development of events here in the USA, but also globally in a big giant way, okay, like a spectacular way. And so started picking it up. And then 2010 kept building, 2011 and 12. Around 2011 and 12, the data set started filling in to the point where I had enough data to know that I was dealing with an unusual form of a TV show. Because at that point, the data sets weren't picking up the word podcast because it was not generally known. Okay. And so then around 2012 or so, it became apparent, I was talking that the data sets were referring to an individual who would be emblematic for a shift in what was going to be like a temporal flow. Let me put it that way, right? Mm-hmm. Not that he's in any way changing the nature of the country, not that he's in any way adding energy to make things go one way or another. That is not the role that was being described. What was being described in the data was simply a person's image that will be able to be seen for perhaps hundreds of years as being the person at the spot in one of those, Iwo Jima kind of moments, or the sailor kissing the nurse at the end of World War II.
Oh yeah, iconic.
Precisely. The iconic thing for this particular shift, which happens to coincide with this fourth turning, which is going to be major for fourth turning in the United States, which is going to be major for the planet. So around 2012, I had a sufficiency of individual data points building up in this data set, and it continued all the way through until I was forced to shut down my operation, okay? And that data set continued to build, and eventually I thought I knew who it was because I came across the Joe Rogan podcast, and I think that was perhaps maybe a year after he had started doing it, okay? But it didn't dawn on me. I was looking at this iconic figure for perhaps another 4 or 5 years. I don't know how long it was in that process, because I would watch his show intermittently, and he would grow. It kept growing. It kept growing. Then a confluence of events all around the sun disease that broke out in December forced me to go back and relook at all of my old notes. Bringing all of this to the fore, I contacted headquarters and said, I think I know what's going on. And if I'm correct about this, we need to do a session on this guy, because if I'm correct, and this is the point in time in which sci-fi world is about to break open, we will have the most unique event to this date in both science as well as politics, because we will have a president of the United States talk space aliens with somebody on this podcast that will have a potential of reaching gigantic amounts of the planet, like 2/3 of the planet or something like that. And this is that temporal marker that is just ever so slightly ahead of the actual secrets revealed of reverse engineering and all of this kind of stuff that is coincident with the breakout of the fiat currency crises and the breakout of cryptos as a replacement vehicle. So we're right at that edge.
So this is like 4 years ago, let me remind you, even though it is very general in terms of predictions, right? I mean, you know a presidential election is going to happen around that time. I wouldn't say it's likely, but it's not unlikely, right? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, okay? It gets better.
Okay, in the Joe Rogan work that I did for you, Blind, I said I see hundreds of millions of people all linked, hive control, information and entertainment transmitted to the masses.
Yep.
So if you kind of think about it, right, we are kind of like a hive mind to a degree, especially when you consider things like technology like cell phones and the internet and etc., right? And just like bees, instincts, visuals, sensories, things you interact with, what you're known to do or what you feel you should do, or it's all really interesting things to think about and compare, because we're becoming a hive mind. We've always been one, I think, to a degree, because we're generational, right? And who knows what everything is transferred, or all that with DNA, it being so complex, the brain being so complex, right? So it's really fucking interesting.
When I put that one out, I remember doing the debrief, and I thought, man, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm predicting Trump is going to do the Joe Rogan show. But then I remember saying, it makes sense. I mean, Trump is the kind of guy that would just do that. What did you think when you saw that? Not today when the headlines hit, but what did you think when you saw that graphic come in?
I thought that was absolute confirmation, if it materialized, of the last, or the third to the last primary temporal marker before we can say sci-fi world is here. So, you know, as the way the data sets go, there are these temporal markers within each data set. And in order for the data set to be fulfilled, all of the major temporal markers and some of the secondary and tertiary temporal markers must be fulfilled in order for me to feel that data set has manifest. And we've been ticking along on this thing towards sci-fi world, which leads to some cool stuff. Anti-gravity, all different kinds of cool devices and things. And that's been going on for some period of time. And yet, I was never sure that we were going to reach this particular point. And it was like, holy crud, to reach a defining example. And for me, I'm living in the future. Okay, so I live, because I've got these views of the future, my thoughts are in it. And so I'm living in the present, but I'm also aware of what's going on maybe 2 years out.